The Fugitive Slave Act was brought upon in 1793 to bring the slaves who escaped their owners back to where they belong. Many escaped to earn their freedom in other states that abolished slavery. However, this act required them to return back home. Many people were disregarding this act because states that abolished slavery didn't allow them to retrieve their slaves once they were on their property. However, they passed the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850, which had a lot more thought put into it. Now slaves were able to be retrieved, and even if these states abolished slavery already. Because this act put other lives in jeopardy, it was successful. Researching this topic taught me more about slavery and all they had to go through to earn their freedom. This topic was one of the biggest controversies in African American history. Some facts or things that I found interesting while researching this topic was when the slaves were returned back to the owners, they were punished. After the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 was passed, people who took in slaves and hid them from their owners were punished by being fined or imprisoned. As Hines states, the law required U.S. Marshals, their deputies, and even ordinary citizens to help seize suspected runaways. Those who refused to help apprehend fugitives or who helped the runaways could be fined or imprisoned. However, if people found slaves who weren't originally from their state, they could turn them in for a reward. Another reason this act was so controversial was because of the intrusion it had on other states. As History.com states, Northerners bristled at the idea of turning their states into a stalking ground for bounty hunters, and many argued that the law was tantamount to legalized kidnapping. Even judges were allowing them to raid others' private property to retrieve their states. A story that I found interesting was one where a U.S. Marshal in Brooklyn, New York, captured James Hamlet, a black porter, and immediately returned him to slavery in Baltimore, even though he insisted that because his mother was a free woman, he had not been enslaved. This is a story that was heart-wrenching because it shows that they were willing to enslave any person of color, no matter their story or where they come from. They were still seen as someone's property just because of their race. Overall, this topic was impactful to me personally because it made me realize all the things African Americans had to go through and how different today's society is. Originary.